Well, we've moved out to the garage now that the face frame is done, and I've brought a cut list for all the drawer sizes. I've made a full-size pattern of the opening, that's this outer line, squaring it off using the edge of the plywood piece. Then I have 1/2-inch hardware on each edge, so I came back into that line to start my side of my drawer. It's 3/4-inch plywood on both sides, and that's what these are going to be. Now I want 1/4 of an inch at the bottom for clearance, and about 3/8 across the top. I'm going to square these off rather than cut them at the angle, and that makes this dimension my short drawer size and this dimension my long drawer size. We chose 3/4-inch birch plywood for the drawer sides. It's strong, lightweight, and thick enough to handle the biscuits we are using for the joints. Rip all the pieces to the needed widths and cut them to length. Well, I have all of my drawer pieces cut up. Now there's a lot of different ways to join drawers. You could use dovetails, you could use dowels, but we've chosen a very simple and efficient way. We're going to use biscuit joints. They're strong and they're really efficient. Now the final step will be to cut this 1/4-inch dado in the bottom of the drawer panel to receive the panel itself. 1/4-inch straight bit will cut that. And then, to give it a nice finished appearance, we're simply going to put our birch edge banding on top of our birch plywood, just like that. Most 1/4-inch plywoods actually measure closer to 3/16, making them easy to slide into the 1/4-inch dado. Dry fit the drawer before using any glue. Assemble the sides with glue, making sure the biscuits get saturated. Use 1 3/4 staples at the joints as well, rather than using only clamps. They provide enough strength so that you can flip the drawer over and nail the bottom in place immediately. Be careful to angle the gun enough to ensure the nails go into the plywood sides. Use the same procedure for the angled drawer. 4 biscuits worked out well for the tall side, but there was only room for 1 on the short side. Be careful to line up the dado to ensure that the bottom seats fully. The drawer front will cover one unfinished edge of the plywood. The other will be to the back, out of view. Position long staples to the sides of the biscuits rather than through them. The first angled drawer is finished, ready for the edge banding. Build the others the same way. Build the flat panel drawer fronts out of maple 1x3s. Cut the stiles to length and route a groove with a 1/4-inch slot cutter. The groove must be centered and cut 3/8 of an inch deep. Cut the ends of the horizontal stiles by rabbiting the top and bottom edges, leaving a 1/4-inch tongue. This joint is simple and strong. Dry fit the pieces to ensure the panel is cut properly. It should be a 1/16 shorter in both directions to allow for movement in the solid stock. Glue the ends together and fit them. Slide the panel into the groove as you go. Work out your clamping strategy ahead of time for an awkward shape like this one. Clamp the pieces together, making sure to keep the clamp from making contact with the wood. Align the clamp so that the pressure is applied square to the work. On the back side of the drawer front, nail a 5/8 inch brad from the grooved edge into the tongue. Glue and install the angled piece. Use the shop-made blocks we showed you earlier, or a spring clamp like this one. We found it in a woodworking catalog. The ends of the spring bite into the wood to put pressure on the joint. Ease both sides of the drawer edges with a chamfer bit. This makes handling easier and softens the look. Before installing the drawer fronts, attach the hardware. We chose these 28-inch full extension drawer slides. They provide maximum extension while still being rated to support 100 pounds. Place the drawer on a piece of 1/4-inch plywood. This represents the 1/4-inch space we allowed on the cabinet. Using a full slide assembly as your reference, measure the distance from the bottom of the drawer portion to the bottom of the drawer. With the slide flush with the drawer front, attach the screws. Leave them loose enough to allow for final fitting. If the drawers don't fit perfectly, slide the hardware up or down, forward or back, to get the desired results. Set the back end the same way, using the measurement from the front. Pull the cabinet slide off to allow room to install the screws. Repeat the procedure for the other side. It's a good idea to test fit the drawer at this point. Tighten the screws only after verifying the fit. Use 1/4-inch plywood backing pieces to prevent the drawer fronts from bowing when the pulls are installed. Glue is all you need to hold the backing pieces in place. We'll locate this 3-inch drawer pull at the center point between the top and bottom and both sides. Measure the locations of the holes and drill a 3/32 pilot hole. With the drawer front centered on the drawer, install 2 drywall screws in the drawer pull holes. This will temporarily hold the drawer fronts in place. By attaching them this way, you will be able to fine-tune the fit of all the drawer fronts before permanently attaching them to the drawer boxes.